have a good break?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let's talk about why the hell don't we change? I mean, why don't we change? Mostly. Usually, when I talk to my clients, when I talk to my students, I tell them, first of all, there's really, all rationales aside, there's really only two reasons people don't change. They don't want to, or they don't want to. But why don't they want to? Many times it's because, A, they don't. If you've given them a process and they still don't do it, it's either because they didn't understand the instructions, or they're afraid. And all the other reasons why people don't change pretty much boil down to fear of some kind. Okay? In the world according to David, resistance falls into 3+1 categories. We instinctively resist anything that threatens or appears to threaten our self-concept, how we see ourselves. Okay? We instinctively resist anything that threatens how we think other people will see us. File as many different examples under those categories as you like. The third reason, is we resist changing when we receive information that threatens anything we've accepted and know as true. And this is, once again, where we wind up at that magic number, 0 to 5 years old. The defining templates of our life are established during those years. From the time you come out of the womb, and even before, I've actually regressed people in hypnotherapy to 3 months after conception. I've done past life work. It does occasionally happen. Most of the work I do when I deal with medical cases and things like that, it's usually this life. But it's almost always here. Every now and then I get the 7 to 11. But almost everything else usually after that is what we call a secondary or a subsequent sensitizing event. It's something that happened after the hook that everything else gets pegged on. Remember that your unconscious mind sorts by what's familiar. Okay? Words like love, right, wrong, good, evil, have no meaning here. When you come into this world, you're one big blank hard drive. You have all this capacity and no information. And so the first thing that happens is your mirror neurons go on full alert. Your nervous system becomes voracious for any and all sensory input, any and all information it can get. It has no understanding of self and other. Now stop for a moment and really get this. When you come out of the womb, even though you are physically a separate entity, that concept does not exist for you as a baby. When you see mommy and you see daddy, it's you. It's you. The filters that separate self from other, mommy from daddy, daddy from me, do not happen until years later. Years many times. Therefore, what you experience, the way you experience it, is what was there first. What was there first? Right, wrong, good or bad, comfortable, uncomfortable. Those distinctions don't really matter. It's what was there first, and therefore it becomes the standard by which everything that comes afterward is measured by. If you are brought into a family where you're held and you're loved and you're nurtured and you're told that you're loved and you're fed and you're cared for, we eventually come to associate those words, those tones, those feelings with words we call love. But love comes much later. When it first starts to happen, it's good feeling, bad feeling. Familiar, unfamiliar. Good, bad is a much later distinction, and it's a conscious mind distinction or an emotional one. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so this is why many times we keep recreating the same events in our life that we had growing up. Even though consciously we know better, the template was installed into you before you even realized it could happen. Does that make sense? Now, the beautiful part is we can change it. We can fix it. But first we have to realize this is what's happening. Every time you experience something, the first thing that happens is, we call it the bouncer at the bar, or at the outside the bar analogy. It's Luigi at the door, and then Giuseppe's in the back, right? And a new message comes from the outside world. It goes, hey, can I come in? Who are you? I'm the message that says David's a good guy. Oh. Yo, Giuseppe. You got any files in the back that says David's a good guy? I don't know, Luigi. Let me check. Nah, he's a dick. Beat it. Welcome to the critical factor of the conscious mind. Okay? It's a filter. It's a filter that is developed later in life that is designed to keep you the same. Unless you slip Giuseppe or Luigi a $20 bill, you send them out for pizza, both of them, because one's not good enough. You go back, you're taking out the file, you put new stuff in the file. Giuseppe and Luigi come back. Now I come in and say, hey, David's a good guy. Hold on a second. Giuseppe, David a good guy? I don't know. Let me check. Wow. Yeah, let him in. Shit. He's got the payroll. Now I make a joke. That's literally how your unconscious mind works. Your conscious mind, the critical factor of your conscious mind, is designed to keep information out that does not match what's already there. This is why it takes tremendous amounts of effort, repetition, and energy to get something new accepted. The roots of this process start here, because that's what was there first. For example, as my young, well-meaning mother teaches me my shapes and my colors, he says, David, this is a red triangle. It's Mommy. Mommy is God in my universe. She says, this is a red triangle. I go to kindergarten. Teacher says, David, draw a red triangle. And I go, and she says, no, David, that's a blue circle. I go, no, Mommy told me that's a red triangle. The teacher goes, no, David, this is a red triangle. And I go, no, Mommy told me that's a blue circle. And we go on and have a civil war because what's right has nothing to do with what was there first. This is what drives the majority of our behaviors. Now, the more oxytocin we put into the system, the more pliable these things become. The faster we can create change. So your first assignment, should you decide to accept it, is to learn how to feel good for no friggin' reason. Okay? Now, this kind of work is what we do in my clinic. And usually when people have tumors or pain that won't go away or traumas or OCDs or all those things, this is where we wind up. But the vast majority of the things that we deal with can be handled through these constructs that I'm teaching you. And I want you to think about it this way. I haven't forgotten the resistance part, but I'm just kind of opening a loop. Remember that grid we talked about? I want you to think about it kind of like the desktop on your computer. Anybody here have a computer? Now, I don't know how your desktop looks like, But you go to my desktop and there's files everywhere, right? Some are open, some are closed, some have been open for weeks, right? That space around you where you're reaching out and you're touching these pictures is your filing cabinet. It's your desktop. The size, proximity, and the building blocks of each of those files creates your experience. Everybody reach out and touch something that's a good feeling. That's a good memory for you. Reach out and touch it. Now, trace the edges of it with your hands so you know how big it is. Now here's what I want you to do. Take a snapshot of where it is so we can go back and look at everybody around you and notice where they're pointing. Notice they're all pointing someplace else. Notice that each and every one of their pictures is a different size and shape. That means you all organize your desktop differently. And yet they all have the same meaning. Right? And yet earlier today, we took that picture, we put it behind us, and all of it went away. That means you have two kinds of codes, two kinds of filing systems. One is genetic. You get it because you're a human being with a pulse. The other one you develop at random and by default by just haphazardly throwing things on your desktop. The emotional experience that you had and all of those other things that were playing at the time you created that memory, that created the structure of your experience. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of a time in your life. Well, we'll do this even easier. I want you to reach out and touch that picture that you like so much. Trace the edges of it. Grab it. Raise it up. Notice what happens to the feeling. What happened to the feeling?
I was able to visualize it.
Oh, you're able to see it better. Wait a minute. We'll put it down there. Notice what happens. What happened? It disappeared. Can you feel it?
I think about it.
If you think about it, but you can't see it.
No.
That's weird. Lift it back up. You mean, depending on where in space we put that picture, we can see it better or not? Well, isn't that interesting? As a rule, when we look up, we access the visual part of our brain. When we look down, we access the feeling part of our brain. Okay? When we look to the right or we look to the left, we access the hearing part of our brain. So depending on what we want to do and how we want to do things, we can organize our desktops differently. Let's say there's something that we don't want to feel anymore. Take something you don't want to feel anymore. On a scale of 0 to 10, shittiness scale. You can do whatever you want, just for now. Just reach out and touch it. Good. Trace the edges up with your hand so you know how big it is. Now shrink it down the size of a postage stamp. Just for grins and giggles, take it, throw it behind you. What happens to the feeling?
It's gone.
It's gone. Huh? You mean, if there's something that's bothering me, it's somewhere in front of me. If I reach out, I find the picture, I notice where I feel it in my body, and I crumple it up and I shrink it down and I put it somewhere else, I change the experience. Think about that for a moment. How many of you have stuff when you think about it, it doesn't make your life better? How many of you are lying to me? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a little game. Okay? First thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of desktop orientation. I want you to think about some stuff on a scale of 0 to 10. That's around 1 to 5. I want you to reach out at your own pace. At your own pace. I want you to reach out, touch the picture. Notice where in your body you feel it. Physically point to where you feel it. Something you don't want to, something you want that's not making your life better, you don't want to feel anymore. Does that make sense? Now, if it's something that has like a safety lesson to it, write the lesson across it, then shrink it down and put it behind you. But what I want you to do is take everything in your life at this point, and again, don't go crazy on me because I don't want to go around fixing people, right? But everything, I'm about a scale of 0 to about a 5. Reach out, touch it, follow the instructions. Just reach out, touch it, point to where you feel it in your body. As you point to where you feel it, Trace the edges of it so you know how big it is. Now, to make sure you got the right one, make the picture bigger. Notice what happens to the feeling. Make the picture smaller. Notice what happens to the feeling. Begin to move it around your desktop until it feels the way you want it to feel. If there's no place in front of you where it feels how you want it to feel, shrink it down, throw it behind you, and leave it there. And once you know it's back there, try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. What just happened? It disappeared. You mean we've been carrying crap around for years, and all we had to do was reach out, take it off our desktop, and put it somewhere else? Yeah. Yeah. It's just no one told us we could. No one told us we could. Don't feel bad. It took us 5,000 years to figure it out. Yes?
I'm just wondering if there, when you have somebody, like, because I do healing work with people, and when I try and do it on myself, it's just not as effective as when I go in to see somebody, and even though I do the same thing, so is there something about having that observer, other person?
Yeah, it's very challenging. You can do this. You can do this to yourself. It's always much easier to have somebody guide you through it. Okay, I can do it pretty successfully on myself because I guide so many people through it, through so many different examples and different contexts and things like that. And you will too. Right? I teach courses. Yes.
Stupid question.
Not a stupid question.
If everything is anchored or created between that age right there, roughly, is where it starts, then identity, as you started with, who are you really? Because if you're just a collection of what you started there, how do you know who you really are and what you really want out of it?
That's the challenge, isn't it? Here's the thing we need to understand. It's a great question. The question is who you are and what you are is consciousness. The consciousness that you think is you, are a suit of clothing that you wear. Kind of like your favorite shirt, your favorite shoes. They're a set of behaviors, perceptual filters, and beliefs that are familiar to you. And this is kind of where we're going back full circle. Your system is designed, hardwired, to sort for what is familiar. Not what's right, not what's wrong. What is familiar. I started off this segment by talking about when you come into this world, this is relating directly to what you're saying. You come into this world, we're held, we're loved, we're nurtured, we're told that we're loved. We associate those sensations, those words, with this concept that becomes familiar. It becomes there first. It becomes love. But first it starts as comfort, then safety, security, and ultimately becomes love. It's a process. But if you come into this world, and sometimes you're held and sometimes you're not. People argue in front of you. They yell at you or around you. You're held up, and then one day you're told how much you're loved. Next time you're smacked and you're told, I did that because I love you. And all of a sudden there's this feeling of uncertainty, this feeling of a little bit of anxiety that becomes your familiar way of being. That becomes love too. Because love isn't, building blocks of love are not the textbook definition. The textbook definition of love for many of us is what was there first. What's familiar. Okay, one of my mentors, Jerry Kine, used to say, and actually another one of my mentors by proxy was Stephen Parkhill, used to say, you want to see an alcoholic get really happy? Tell him what a no good piece of shit he is. You know why? It matches his map. It's what's familiar. I didn't write the rules, I just report them. This is why many times we tend to create the same dynamics we had in our personal lives that we had growing up.
How do you fix that?
You got to go back and change the template. Change the imprint. Okay? You're not going to do it consciously because these things are not conscious. If your conscious mind could solve that problem, you'd all done it by now. Does that make sense? The beautiful part is that you're far more than your conscious mind. You're far more than your unconscious mind. As we start to get more self-aware, as we become more attuned to these pieces of us, we gain more power and control over the system. We gain more self-understanding. Okay? There's a lot of different ways that we can influence the system, but we got to start with what we can utilize and assimilate first. I mean, I could go into all kinds of neurospeak and all this stuff. It's not going to help you. You start with understanding that A, you're more than your thoughts. You're more than your experiences. You're more than your body. You're more than the clothes on your back. You have those things, but they are not you. They're things that you're doing. And you can always change what you're doing. Every experience, every memory is not a thing that you can go and weigh and measure. It's a process. It's a program that's being run. It's a video that's being played. And you have the power. Not me. I'm just a few pages ahead in the manual. Okay? I'm just a guy who knows some stuff. You have that power. Everybody here knows what a recycle bin is, right? You have a computer that has a recycle bin?
Oh, recycle.
Yeah. You know what that sucker does, right? Now, I'll bet everybody in here has had something in their life that was true at one time, but isn't true anymore. Would that be true? This means yes, this means no. So maybe you were in third grade once, but you're not anymore, right? Reach out and touch that spot. Just reach out. First impression. Trust me on this one. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to take one of those things that isn't making your life any better. Something that's causing you to feel the way you don't want to feel. Reach out and touch that. Crumple it down, shrink it down, put it in that spot. Notice what happens to the feeling. What just happened? It went away. You mean we have places in our nervous system, locations, that we can, where we store stuff that isn't true or powerful or effective in our life anymore? You know the sound the recycle bin makes when you empty it? Shh. Put it in that spot. Go shh. Make the sound. Go shh. Looks like clicking the mouse. And notice what happens to the feeling when you try to bring it back.
I don't even remember what it was.
You mean that's all we got to do? Yeah. The secret, two secrets really. A, play pretend. Point to where you feel it. That's it. If we point to where we feel it in our body, we connect it to what we're playing pretend at, and we manipulate that construct. You can think of it as real energy, I do. You can think of it as just a construct in your mind that's like a graphic user interface. Right? We don't have to type in the code, we can just WYSIWYG everything, right? You can move stuff around and change how it's running your neurology. Right? Anybody have something they want more of? Reach out and touch that picture. Trace the edges of it. Grab it, make it bigger. Oh, you got more of it. Now here's a guy who was telling me at the beginning of this thing he couldn't feel shit. Look at him. Look at him. He's lighting up like a Christmas tree. Right? Now, there's a place, just like you have a recycle bin where you put things that were true once that are no longer true. You have a place where you put things that you just can't wait to do more of. If you had an opportunity to do it, you would like be there the day before. It's like when your favorite bands come into town, you camp out 6 weeks in advance with a little pup tent. You know that kind of lust I'm talking about? Take that thing you want more of, put it in that spot, notice what happens to the feeling. Ooh, I'm going to stand back. You guys need a cold shower. What happened? Look at him. He's jammed. What just happened to you? Look at him. I love watching the transformations because, ladies and gentlemen, think about what you just learned about you. You're no longer at effect in your life. All you have to do to begin the process of change is point to where you feel it. Touch the picture. Change the picture until the feeling is what you want it to be. Now, there's one more thing, and it's not a big deal because most of the time you only need to do it once, but there's this thing NLP likes to call a convincer strategy. There's a set number of repetitions that your nervous system has to cycle through something before it locks in. Now, when you see me up here, and you hear me keep going, keep doing it until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. What I'm doing there in a very verbal way, without getting overly complicated, is I'm activating the neurological convincer strategy that each of you have, or each of the persons have. He might need 27 repetitions. He might need 5. You might need 3. She might need 27. It's unique to you and is context dependent. The secret is, once you start working at this level of the nervous system, you just keep repeating the process until you can't change it back. You'll know there's a sensation, there's a click that lets you know it's locked in. Now remember, anything the mind can cause, the mind can change. So even though you've locked that new change in, you can go back and change it anytime you want to something else. You have the freedom. You're no longer at the mercy of what anybody programmed into you. Here. You can begin the process of change. Does that make sense? So, we have two things that we covered the grid, which is about your own personal desktop, right? Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take 5 or 6 minutes, close your eyes, pretend you're surrounded by this virtual reality bubble, and on it you can see all of these things that make your life better, all of these things that don't. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to physically reach out and grab one of those things that doesn't make your life better. Rip it off the wall of your virtual reality bubble. Notice where in your body you feel it. Imagine you could actually crumple it up in your hands. Feel it shift and change in your body. And when you're ready, either throw it behind you or put it in that recycle bin and hit the empty button and notice what happens to the feeling. That's it. Play with it. Notice the change. Notice it's gone. And I want you to just take a few minutes and clean up your desktop. Because then we're going to do something even cooler. Physically act it out. Remember, the more you get the meat suit involved, the more powerful you change. The secret is in the body, not the mind. That's it. Go for it, Carlos. Gusto, baby. That's it. Yes. Be playful. Have fun with it. Notice how good you feel. Now, guys, keep playing away. For those of you who are finished early, I want you to notice that what's left on your walls, first of all, a lot of blank space, right? And there's all those things that make your life better. So just like you would change where things hang on your wall at home, I want you to change the size, the shape, and the location until they're exactly the way you want to feel. Move them from the right to the left, from the top to the bottom. Change how close they are to your body. Change how far away they are. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as you reorganize your life. And anything that's really good, make a photocopy of it and stick it right next to that spot and notice it doubles and triples. Very cool. You go, guys. Nice. Very good. How you feeling? You feel pretty good, don't you? You look pretty blissed out over here. Yeah, how about that? Man, if somebody had told us this when we were in kindergarten, life would have been cool, huh? Very good. I'm just going to wait because I'm just watching all the people blissing out back here. How is this for you? Good? You look really, really content over here. Wow. I wasn't sure where this was going, but shit, that's all I had to do. Ladies and gentlemen, as good as this was, you haven't tapped into a tenth of what you're capable of. Not a tenth of the pleasure, the joy, the power, the freedom, the control. All you got to do is play and feel. Look at Eric. He's all blissed out over here. Very cool. All right. I have one final gift. Actually, I have two for everybody before we go tonight. I want everybody to put your feet flat on the floor. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Let that breath out with a sigh. Deeper and deeper with every breath you take. Every beat of your heart, ladies and gentlemen. All I want you to do is focus all of your attention on the lids of your eyes. Begin to relax your eyelids and the tiny muscles in your eyelids. Relax them so fully, so completely. Make them so completely relaxed that you couldn't actually open them without putting more attention back into them. Or simply pretend. And when you know they're that relaxed, test them to be sure. Then stop testing. Flow that level of relaxation from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. Deeper and deeper with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. I want you to use that amazing imagination of yours. I want you to pretend that you're going into the deepest, most powerful, most profound meditation, relaxation, trance, whatever word you use for that feeling of transcendence and empowerment that you enjoy so much, that you've ever gone into. With every breath you take, with every beat of your heart, let that feeling just grow stronger, stronger, and stronger. And I want you to begin to imagine that you and I are kind of hanging out. We're sitting in a chair in your favorite faraway vacation spot. That place you love to go that makes you feel so good, so relaxed, so refreshed and rejuvenated all over in every way. Imagine flowing in through the top of your head a beautiful glowing orange fluid, and it begins to fill you up, much like water fills up a glass bottle. And this orange fluid begins to fill you up from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And like a magnet is drawn to metal, like water soaking into a dry sponge, it begins to seek out any place in your body where you're harboring any stress, any strain, any less than positive experience. It begins to soak into those areas, begins to saturate, penetrate, begins to draw out of your body any less than positive experience, the ones you consciously know about. Most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, the ones you unconsciously know about. The ones that operate below the threshold of conscious awareness. And as that energy, as that fluid is drawn into that spot, that place becomes healed, nourished, revitalized, cleansed of any stress, any strain, any less than positive experience. And as that process continues, it continues to fill you up from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Another part of your awareness can begin to float up out of your physical body. You can look down and you can actually see the top of your head here in the room. And you can see the glowing orange fluid deep inside. And you can feel it doing its work, permeating every cell, every atom. And as you float up higher and higher and higher, you can begin to see different levels of your consciousness, different levels of your awareness. You can feel them. You can become aware of them. And you notice what looks like a glowing line of time. And you instinctively, intuitively, you recognize that one part of that line represents your past. Another part represents the present time, the present moment. Another part represents the future. And like a glowing line of energy drawing from your distant, distant past and all the way into your distant, distant future, you can see all of it from that space way up high. And there was a time in your life, an amazingly good time, a time when your earliest childhood memory, your earliest, most wonderful, most powerful childhood experience, only positive experiences. As I count from 1 to 5, you're going to find yourself floating back on the wings of time to that most amazing, most wonderful, most joyful, most exciting childhood experience ever. And you're going to give yourself an amazing gift. 1, feel that energy welling up inside of you, that feeling of joy, passion, pleasure, whatever it was, going back in time to the earliest, most powerful, most wonderful childhood experience ever. Maybe it was a birthday. Maybe it was a baseball game. Maybe it was just you by yourself. Whatever it was, as long as it was the most wonderful, joyful, most powerful experience of your life. Once you begin to fly back on the wings of time, 2, going faster and faster, feeling those feelings welling up inside of you, calling you back in time to the very first experience of that joy, the very first, most powerful example of that experience. 3, doubling and tripling in intensity. 4, almost there. 5, notice that feeling welling up from deep inside of you. Notice that you see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt. Feel your consciousness going back into that experience. But this time, I want you to see that younger version of yourself. I want you to see that little boy or that little girl having the best time, feeling the best ever. And I want you to look them in the eyes. And with all the love that you have, I want you to say, hey, little buddy, I'm you from the future. Make them believe you, because sometimes they think we're full of shit. I want you to take them in your arms, and I want you to tell them, I've got something really cool that I want to give you. I want you to take that younger version of you in your arms, and with all the love and the acceptance that you have to give, I want you to tell that younger version of you everything he or she will ever need to know to understand the events of their life, the coming events of their life, to accept them, to understand them, to survive them, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, to thrive. To be gifted with your wisdom, your knowledge, your insight, your forewarning, your foreknowledge flowing into them in an endless, unlimited supply. Feel it filling them up as it streams from your heart, as the words pour from your lips. Feel the recognition, see the understanding in their eyes as everything that that little person will ever need to know and understand. To make better decisions. To feel loved and cherished, protected and nourished and nurtured in all the right ways. Flows into them in an ever-increasing, never-ending supply. And when you know he's got it or she's got it, I have some very special words that I want you to pass on and mean them from the bottom of your heart as you look that little person in the eyes. And I want you to tell them this. Throughout the coming years of your life, the days, the weeks, and the months, things will happen. People will do things, say things. Events will come, people will come and go. Life happens. But no matter where you go, no matter what you do, I will always be here for you. To hold your hand when you need your hand to be held. To give you that hug you need when there's nobody else around. To always accept you unconditionally. To speak to you and tell you all the very best things about you in a voice that's 10 times louder than any other voice, that drowns out every other voice. And so that through all the days of your life, the ones you consciously remember, and the ones you unconsciously remember, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter what life hands you, you're always loved. And you're never alone. Feel the truth of that sink into that little person. Feel that love. Feel that gratitude. Feel the strength nourishing your spirit and your soul. Flow in an endless, unlimited supply. Take that little person in your arms. You feel them shrink down and go right inside your heart, where they're surrounded, protected, nurtured by all the love, forgiveness, acceptance, understanding, wisdom they could ever want or need in an endless, unlimited supply, like a miniature sun bathing you from the inside out with all the things that are important, all the things that give you what you want and need to make your life exactly what you want, to give that little person whatever they need to make the very best choices, the very best decisions, take the very best actions. And when you know they've got it, see the two of you moving forward through the events of their life together, with you by her side or his side, advising them, guiding them, explaining things to them, giving them exactly what they need in a way that they know that they're getting it. Feel how that younger version of you has new experiences of old memories, changing from the inside out because the person experiencing them is different now, has new resources, new understandings, more guidance and wisdom. Feel yourself moving through your early years, through your teens, your 20s, your 30s, and beyond. All the way towards a light in the distance that signifies what may be the transition point in this existence. And at some point in that far distant future, you pass through that light and you feel a wonderful sense of release. And you find yourself back at the beginning of that timeline, at the very age of conception, bringing with you all of that knowledge, all of that wisdom, all of those understandings. And you take that and you move through that timeline once again, bringing all of that experience with you. Feeling how that endless love, acceptance, nurturing changes the thoughts, the ideas, the behaviors, the understandings. Cycling from the earliest years through your early childhood, through your teens, to the present, to the future, and on into the distant future. And you begin to cycle through that process, not once, not twice, but over and over and over again, noticing all of your memories, all of your feelings and ideas, all of your understandings of yourself shift and change as you gain new wisdom, gain new understandings. When you think back on the past, when you look back on it, you can only remember it in this new way, only in ways that make your life better. And through it all, one truth rings out from every cell of your body, that through it all, you've always been there. You're always accepted. You're always loved. You're never alone. And when you know you've got it, when you know it's locked in, and you can only remember the past in this new way, only in ways that make your life better, allow yourself to begin to journey back to the room, down into the body. Feel yourself integrating, sinking into that orange fluid. Feeling the changes, feeling the cleansings, feeling the lightness in your body as you realize you're different now in all the ways that are important. That you've gained so much in such a short time. You've gained the capacity to learn new ways, to understand your life differently, to understand the software that runs your nervous system, that defines your experience, how to change it, how to be there for that youngest, best version of you. Through it all, you're always loved. You're never alone. Feel that orange fluid beginning to drain out of the soles of your feet and the tips of your fingers, taking with it any stress, any strain, any less than positive experience, leaving you fully integrated in mind and body. When you know you've got it, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. When I reach the number 5, you'll emerge from this state only at the rate and speed that you know you've got it, only at the rate and speed that you realize it only gets better. Tonight, while you sleep and while you dream, your unconscious mind will take all of these learnings, all of these theories and principles, all of these experiences, and will begin to change the way your brain is wired, change the way your nervous system processes information so that you begin to become the person who can be, do, and have the life you want, the way you want it. Because a very wise woman once told me, David, you can have anything you want in this life. You can be anything you want in this life. But first, you have to become the person to whom that thing can happen. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, to whatever degree you are willing and able, you've taken magnificent steps towards becoming the person who can be, do, and have everything you want. It starts by understanding how you work and practicing it. It starts with learning how to play. And through it all, there's that other voice talking to you, giving you the very best advice, telling you all the very best things about you in a voice 10 times louder than any other voice. So that no matter where you go, what you do, well, you know the rest. Number 1, feel yourself returning to this place we call reality. If you're not here already, bringing all of these transformations with you. Number 2, all of my suggestions from me to you, from you to your unconscious mind, 1,000 times more powerful than ever before. Coming from a part that's always 10 times stronger than any other part. 3, always at least 3 ways to overcome any situation, obstacle, or circumstance that you may face. Always at least 3 solutions to any problem you want to solve in your other than conscious mind will now easily, effortlessly, and automatically generate those solutions in the quickest, easiest, most effective way for the good of yourself and all concerned. Number 4, because it's all for you. You've come out tonight, you've followed the instructions, you've obeyed the commands, you've done the work. You deserve the rewards. It's true for you now. On the next count, you can emerge from this state only at the rate and speed that you know you've got it. Ready and willing to kick butt, take names, make your life exactly what you want it to be. Number 5, take your time. Come on back. Notice how good you feel. There's some pretty stoned dudes and dudettes in this audience. I don't know. Okay, for those of you who would like, we went a little bit over, I'm sorry for that, but hopefully you guys had a good trip. You guys have a good trip? You learned some really cool stuff tonight, consciously and unconsciously. For those of you who'd like to take it further, we have a very special 2-day event coming up, November 29th and 30th. It's called the Self-Mastery Supercharger. What you experienced tonight were elements of a 7-stage process that I teach, whereby we systematically teach you how to rebuild your identity from the ground up. Starting with that age 0 to 5, how to remove negativity from your body, the things you consciously know about, the things you unconsciously know about. How to hold on to the lessons that may be keeping things stuck, but that you need to stay safe. How to rewrite those voices in your head so that they only talk to you in ways that make your life better. How to change your memories and the structure of your memories in such a way so that when you think about the past, when you remember the past, you only remember it in ways that build you up. How to take that same level of skill set and move it back to before you were born, before you encountered any of your memories, and install those skills before any of it ever happened. You can do that. A lot of people ask, well, how do we change things from that time? This is how. This is about going beyond self-hypnosis. This is about deep alchemical change work, and it's all self-directed. Well, it's not really self-directed, because the way it works is I actually teach you how to do it, I demonstrate it, I do it to you, then you practice doing it to each other, and then at the end of the weekend, you wind up doing it all to yourself. So you can do it anytime, anywhere, for any reason. The normal rate for that is $950. Anybody who wants to get in tonight, it's normally $497. That price will remain until the day of the training. But for anybody who wants to enroll tonight, my daughter Tracy has some forms, and she can take any credit card information that you may have. For those of you who want to go deeper, who want to go further, I have 3 basic silos that we follow. People who come to me have one of 3 desires. They either want to fix themselves, which is cool. They want me to help them fix themselves, or they want to fix other people. So we have different ways of getting the kind of knowledge and information that you need based on what you want to do. For those of you who want to do self-work, who want to kind of take charge of your own life and learn how to do these things for yourself, the self-mastery supercharger that I just discussed, that I just told you about, is going to be your quickest, most direct, most powerful way to cement these changes in and go even further. There are people here who've been through it. If you've been through, who's here has been through the self-mastery? Jeff has been through it. Was Cynthia here? Did I miss Cynthia, or did she leave? Billy's been through it. Raise your hand, Billy. Emily's seen parts of it. For those of you who have questions about it, before you sign up, go ahead and talk to them. They will tell you. They've seen really bizarre things. They've seen Alzheimer's, or not Alzheimer's, Asperger's, change, post-traumatic stress, gone, weight loss, that's easy. I only get one of those a year, though. I have my quota.
Except for Tuesday.
I used to be 230 pounds. I wouldn't take a weight loss client until 2005 because I couldn't lose the weight. And I did it through a combination of modalities, one of which was hypnosis. See, actually taking the weight off isn't usually the problem. 20 pounds or less, it's usually lifestyle. 20 pounds or more, it's body armor. There's an emotional reason why the weight is there. Fix the emotion, the weight goes away because it's no longer necessary. Okay? I want to thank you all for coming out. Please hoard Trace. Oh, I have one more gift before I go. And I have the most important one. Everybody in here, normally to walk in my door is $175 to $350 an hour. Everyone here tonight, because you came out, because you sat through my spiel, followed my instructions, each and every one of you gets a free 30-minute consultation with me in my office in Solana Beach. There's no charge. There's no obligation. I don't promise to fix your problem, but I do promise to help figure out if we can, if you're a candidate for the work that we do. If I can help you, I'll tell you. If I can't, I'll tell you. And I'll point you in a place where you can. It's my gift to you. I want to thank you all for coming out. I do ask, if you had a good time, post good things to the meetup. If you didn't, post to somebody else's meetup. There's lots more chocolate back there. There's lots more coffee. Circulate, mix, mingle. I'm going to hang out, answer questions. Mob Tracy, mob Billy, and Jeff. And thank you all for coming out.